Hi, this is Daryl Myatt from Keller, Texas. Today is Tuesday, November 8th, 2011. Well, now that we have less than a year until the next presidential election, I think we need to have a look and see how our current commander-in-chief is doing. I told you about last Friday when he misquoted the Bible. You know, nothing bugs me more than somebody that says something that's in the Bible that isn't. If you missed it, Barack Obama was giving a speech about his new jobs bill and trying to tell Congress to pass it. He said, like the good book says, God helps those who help themselves. Sorry, not in the Holy Bible, if that's the good book he's referring to. So we've got another year of these mudslinging, name-calling candidates talking badly about each other. You know, when did elections become just mudslinging, name-calling? Instead of telling me why I shouldn't vote for the other guy, why don't you tell me why I should vote for you? Okay, that's what I want to hear. Let's have somebody take a stand and have a positive campaign and just stand on your own merits and not degrade someone for their lack of merits. Just a thought. In case you didn't see this, speaking about Obama, this has come out in the last 24 hours. I'm reading this one out of the Huffington Post. Sarkozy and Obama were having a conversation at the G20 summit last week, and their microphones were left on. And they thought they were having a private conversation, but all the journalists in the room heard what they were saying. Sarkozy, the French president, said Netanyahu is a liar. Journalists reportedly overhear French president tell this to Barack Obama. And this story says that they didn't realize their microphone was live when he was speaking with Obama as part of the G20 meetings in Cannes, France last week. And Obama also criticized Sarkozy for not telling him in advance that France planned to vote in favor of the Palestinians' UNESCO membership bid. The conversation then turned to Netanyahu. I cannot stand him, Mr. Sarkozy was quoted as saying. He is a liar. Mr. Obama is reported to have replied, "You're fed up with him, but I have to deal with him every day." Reuters also confirmed these comments. Interesting, isn't it? When Netanyahu seems to be standing against the world and you've got people like this saying one thing to your face and something completely different behind your back. Let's talk about Mr. Barack Obama, Mr. Barack Hussein Obama. Let's have a look at his 34-month report card, shall we? You know, Mr. Hope and Change wants to create a nation humbled, humiliated, and cast aside capitalism and individual freedoms for one where we, the people, are government-controlled. It's no longer government of the people, by the people, for the people, but government for the government to control the people. That's what it is today. This would be a system that genuflects mediocrity, steals personal aspiration and opportunity, and punishes those who want to thrive and succeed. Let's have a look at some things. A gallon of regular gasoline the day Obama was inaugurated was $1.79 on average in the United States. Today that price is $3.59, a 100.6% increase. The number of food stamp recipients has risen since Obama took office from nearly 32 million to over 43 million, a 35.1% jump. Long-term unemployment soared 146.2% during this same 34-month period, from 2.6 million to 6.4 million. That's some staggering hope and change, isn't it? American citizens living in poverty have risen 9.5% from 39,000 to over 39 million to over 43.6 million. And the number of unemployed has jumped almost 25% from 11 million to 14.5 million as of August 31st, 2011. The number of unemployed blacks has risen from 12.6% at the end of George Bush's term to 15.8% today, a 25.4% increase, And finally, our national debt is up 34.4% from $10.627 trillion to $14.278 trillion. Now, this president has had many firsts, okay? Being the first president to do something. Let's have a look at some of these firsts. And please, as you hear this, please know I'm not a racist. I don't speak against this president because of the color of his skin. I speak against him because of his performance and because of what he does and who he backs and who he supports and who he stabs in the back. Okay? And I don't care if this man was purple, green, yellow, red, whatever. I'd say the same thing. I don't care if it's my daddy, okay, or my uncle. I'd still say these things. Okay? Let's have a look at some of the firsts from this president. He's the first president to refuse to show a valid birth certificate prior to becoming elected or taking office. First one ever. We still haven't seen a valid one. We've seen a forgery, not a valid one. First president to apply for college aid as a foreign student and then deny that he was a foreigner. That's curious. How can you apply for foreign aid as a college student and then say you're not a foreigner? First president to have a social security number from a state he never lived in. You know, those first three right there are enough red flags for me to say, get this bum out of office. First president to preside over a cut to the credit rating of the United States. First president to violate the War Powers Act. First president to be held in contempt of court for illegally obstructing oil drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. First president to defy a federal judge's court order to cease implementing the health care reform law. First president to require all Americans to purchase a product from a third party. Wait a minute, doesn't that go against the Constitution? Seems like this president has thrown the Constitution out the window. You know, maybe that's because he's clearing the way for a one-world government, and America stands in the way with that valuable piece of paper called the Constitution. First president to spend $1 trillion on shovel-ready jobs and later admit there's no such thing as shovel-ready jobs. So where'd that $1 trillion go? Sounds like a Ponzi scheme. Isn't Madoff in jail for a very similar thing? Just curious. First president to abrogate bankruptcy law to turn over control of companies to his union supporters. First president to bypass Congress and implement the DREAM Act through executive fiat. First president to order a secret amnesty program that stopped the deportation of illegal immigrants across the U.S., including those with criminal convictions. Why would we not want to get rid of these people? First president to demand a company hand over $20 billion to one of his political appointees. First president to terminate America's ability to put a man in space. Shut down NASA. First president to encourage racial discrimination and intimidation at polling places. First president to have a law signed by an auto pen without being present. First president to arbitrarily declare an existing law unconstitutional and refuse to enforce it. Really? That's kind of funny, isn't it? First president to threaten insurance companies if they publicly speak out on the reasons for their rate increases. First president to tell a major manufacturing company in which state they're allowed to locate a factory. First president to file lawsuits against the states he swore an oath to protect: Arizona, Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana. First president to withdraw an existing coal permit that had been properly issued years ago. First president to fire an inspector general of AmeriCorps for catching one of his friends in a corruption case. Really? So you catch someone that does wrong, you get rid of the guy that caught him? Doesn't seem right, does it? First president to appoint 45 czars to replace elected officials in his office. Appointed his own czars to replace elected officials. First president to golf 73 times in his first 2.5 years in office. Wow. First president to hide his medical, educational, and travel records. What's he hiding from us all? Maybe the fact that he's a Muslim socialist who's not even qualified to be an American president because he wasn't born here? You know, I still remember seeing his grandmother say, "I was there when he was born in Kenya," and then 2 weeks later she was dead. Not pointing fingers, you know, I'm sure it's just a coincidence. First president to win a Nobel Peace Prize for doing absolutely nothing to earn it. First president to coddle American enemies while alienating America's allies. Yeah, big time. First president to publicly bow to America's enemies while refusing to salute the U.S. flag. I think we can see his true colors. Can't you? First president to go on a multiple global apology tour. Sickening. First president to go on 17 lavish vacations, including date nights and Wednesday evening White House parties for his friends paid for by the taxpayers. First president to refuse to wear the U.S. flag lapel pin. First president to have 22 personal assistants, taxpayer funded, for his wife. Wow, she's pretty high maintenance if she needs 22 personal servants. Wonder what color they are. Just curious. First president to keep a dog trainer on retainer for $102,000 a year at taxpayers' expenses. A dog trainer? $102,000? How do I apply for that job? Here, boy, sit. I can do it. I'm qualified. First president to repeat this phrase, "The Holy Quran tells us." He repeated that so many times in that one speech in Cairo, and openly admit that the early morning call of the azan, the Islamic call to worship, is the most beautiful sound on earth. Yeah, that's because he's Muslim. Hello? Remember that 34 months of Obama in the White House, we the people have accumulated national debt at a rate more than 27 times as fast as during the rest of our nation's entire history. As the Obamas plan their next extravagant vacation to the Indonesian island nation of Bali. Hope and change? Anybody? These sources came from the U.S. Energy Information Administration, the Wall Street Journal, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. Department of Labor, Standard & Poor's, Case-Shiller, the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Treasury, and the Heritage Foundation. You know, Jesus spoke of people like this in the Holy Bible. And don't tell me that politics and religion don't mix, because they go hand in hand. Politics determines how we're going to live here on earth. Religion determines how you're going to live for eternity. And keep in mind that Jesus Christ has the government of the world upon his shoulders. Read Isaiah, was that 9:6? Isaiah 9:6 and thereafter. And we know that Jesus Christ will come to rule this world for 1,000 years. And he will rule with an iron scepter. He will be the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, the President of the world. Politics and religion wrapped into one. So don't tell me they don't mix. Jesus told us in Matthew 7, verse 16, "You shall know them by their fruits." You know, Obama is probably one of the greatest speech givers I've ever heard in a president. He gives an amazing speech. He's a great orator. And yes, I know, he's reading from teleprompters and he has people write those speeches, but he delivers it better than just about any president ever has. Maybe short of Ronald Reagan. Ronald was quite the speech giver too. But you'll know them by their fruits. So don't go by what he says. Go by what he does. Jesus said, "Do men gather grapes of thorns, or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. A good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit. Every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. Wherefore, by their fruits ye shall know them." By their fruits you shall know them. So when he's bowing down to the president of Saudi Arabia and telling Sarkozy how he dislikes Netanyahu while trying to force him to make peace with people who simply want them dead, What fruit do you see? So, in the upcoming 12 months, please carefully consider how we can get someone in office that will bear good fruit and that will be a godly man and lead with authority and not lies and deception. God bless you guys. I hope to see you again soon.